really far. Everything is moving in the right direction. And 200K by the end of next year for sure. That's the goal. Maybe even more. After this music, bro, numbers don't matter. Yeah, I know. Like, here's the thing. Numbers don't matter. Maybe not really. Like, the numbers that I'm really focused on are our sales, our streams. Because I want to know, we all want to know what songs do well. Like, the thing about numbers, it's like a cool milestone, but in the grand scheme of things, they don't really matter. Because, like 100,000 followers doesn't make me, like, more, like, important than another person. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't really, like, justify your importance. I don't think any amount of, like, being, like, the same thing with being verified. Like, it doesn't really differentiate in, like, that way. It's just, you know, this is like when my teachers tell me grades don't matter. I mean, if you're asking me, I didn't do the best in school, and I'm doing just fine, so, I mean, I could go on and on about school. So if you guys have questions about advice for dealing with it or any of that, let me know, and I will talk. Trust me. You know what's crazy? You are for us what Logic was to you. That's weird to think about because, like, I followed Logic since he had, like, 4,000 followers, and now he has, like, he's crazy. He's just gotten so big. Where'd you go to school? I went to school in a couple different places. I went to school when school started getting hard for me, it was 5th grade. I was killing the game up until 5th grade, like 4th grade and everything. Absolutely killing the game. 5th grade hit, and it was like I was struggling a little bit, like getting like a C. I was taking the most advanced English, math, science, like every single advanced class, in history and all that, and it was too much for me. And to get like a C in that class was like a good grade. It was like super hard for me. Other kids, it was really easy for them, but for me, I just didn't like it. So what I did in 5th grade is I started going half a day. I would do my work at home with my mom, and I would go to school for a couple classes, and I'd leave because it was just too stressful. To answer your question, though, I went to school in Ohio and Virginia for 4 years. I went to school at this place called South Lakes High School. Worst year of my life at school, actually. But it is the year that I started releasing music, so it was very important. What elementary school did I go to? I went to an elementary school called Lomont Elementary. And, here's the weird thing, guys. So, this is weird for most schools. There was schools, a bunch of schools for 1st through 4th grade, kindergarten through 4th, right? And then there's a separate school for just 5th and 6th grade, and then you have middle school and high school. So to clear that up, yeah, freshman year was the worst year of my life as far as school goes. I think it was the worst year of my life in general. I wasn't getting along with, like, my parents, my teachers. I would skip school all the time and just write music. And I didn't care really. Like, there was a certain point where I was like, this just isn't making me happy. So, you know what? I'm just gonna not do it. I'm just gonna go and write music. And it was pretty hard. Like, my parents were not feeling that. My school was like, what the heck is going on with this kid? Like, he's not showing up. Middle school was actually pretty fun for me. I did well in middle school. Like, 7th grade was really good for me. 8th grade was okay. And then what happened was when I moved after freshman year to Cleveland, back to Cleveland, because I lived there for like 8 years already, And then I was in school. It was like the second week of school, and I put this video up, right, on Twitter of me rapping outside. So this is what happened. I'm going to explain the story of this video. I had been like releasing music and stuff, and I had my old friends that I knew from elementary school went to the high school, so I hadn't seen them for like 4 years. So I come back, and we'd like followed each other on Instagram, and they knew that I rapped, right? So they were like, yo, dude, you should like freestyle at like the table or something. So I freestyled at the table a couple times, and every time I would do it, there'd be a huge crowd like around the table, and I would just keep going, and I just freestyle like everywhere. And then one day, I actually was skipping school this day, and my friend, his name is Hayden. Shout out Hayden. His name is like BMOC Hayden on Instagram. He texted me, and he was like, yo, dude, this is a Thursday morning. I remember it so vividly. He was like, you should rap at lunch today. And I was like, I'm not at school. And then he's like, dude, just do it. I was like, huh? I was like, maybe. And then I was like, you know what? I got nothing else to do. So I walked to school. It was about like a 40-minute walk. So I walked to school. It took 40 minutes, and I got there at lunchtime. I sit down at lunch, and then Hayden's like, yo, dude, what should we do? And I was like, okay, I don't know. So he got me at the so basically everyone at the table like went to every single table in the lunchroom and was like, yo, the white kid's rapping outside. And I was like, ooh, this is not gonna be good. I was kind of nervous, and all of a sudden, like, I'm walking, so there's like 2 floors to the cafeteria, and I walk down the stairs to go outside where there's like tables and stuff to eat lunch, and I sit down, and there's this huge crowd, maybe like 70 something people, and everyone's like, yo, this white boy's about to rap, and everyone's got their phones out, and I was like, oh god. So I just started going, and I was rapping for like probably 12 to 15 minutes. Like, I was sort of nervous at first, like when I started though, like everyone was like, ooh, and everyone started hyping me up, right? And then I kept going, and I was just like killing it. And I said this one line, and everyone went crazy. I don't remember what the line was, but it was absolutely bananas. And I was just going, and what happened? There was afterwards, one of my friends was like, or not one of my friends, they were like, this kid came up to me and he was like, yo, I got a video. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. And then he sent me the video, and it was this one part. I got a pretty good reaction from the people, but it wasn't the one that, I wish I had that one. And it was like, it was okay. Like, I watched it and I was like, okay, it's alright. Like I did okay, but it was cool. And I went and I posted it on Twitter, and I checked my phone in like an hour, and it had like 300 retweets. And I was like, what? Like, I had this one video that I put up a while ago before that, and it got 60 retweets, and I was like, wow, like, that's crazy. But I put this one up, and it went crazy. Like, it got almost like 1,000 favorites or something, and I was like, that was like so much to me. And I was losing my mind. Like, I was checking my phone, I was like, this can't be real. Cause like, I never, like, my tweets would get like maybe 6 or 7 likes at the most. So I was freaking out, and I get like contacted by this dude. His name's Ray Jr. And he reached out to me. His name is his IG is @ECRay Jr. And this dude basically said like, yo, I want to work with you. You're dope. and we started he got me in the studio. He was like talking to me about the business side of everything and like just giving me advice. And we were working together. We released a couple music videos. And after I was dropping music, that's when things started to it would sort of pick up. Like before the music videos though, I rapped every single Thursday at lunch. And that's how I got like the buzz like locally at my school. And then I took a break for a while. I was still in school, but I wasn't doing well at all. I was kind of like, because you know what I mean? Like, when something happens like that and you're, like, on this high of, like, wow, like, I can really do this, then it's like everything else is a distraction, sort of, and you don't put as much energy into it. So that's how I was. Like, I was like, no, like, I really have a chance with this. Like, I saw, like, a glimpse of what I could have, of, like, what my potential was. And I was like, I just gotta chase that. So I just put all my energy into it. Thursdays, what a coincidence. That's crazy, actually. I didn't think, wow, that's actually crazy. Yo, that's pretty wild. Jeez. I didn't even think about that. Yo, Thursdays at 8, damn. So yeah, I did that. And then I went and released my music videos and stuff, and they did okay. They didn't do great, but eventually I stopped going to like public school, and I transferred to this program where I would do school for about 3 hours a day, and I would be on the on a computer, just like doing online courses. And yeah, so that was how I did it. And I wasn't even like that dedicated to that, because during that time I would always just like write raps and stuff. So I would write and like find samples and whatnot, and that was like all I did. So it did help though. Like, I'm almost done graduating. I'm about to finish high school finally, and that was just the way it worked out for me. Like, after that, after summer hit, I stopped doing it completely. Well, obviously, because summer was boy band, but what happened was I was in school. I was in this, like, little library area, and I'm checking my Instagram or whatever, and I see this DM from this casting producer. Her name's Pamela, and she says, "Hi, I'm, like, a casting producer looking for talented young male artists." And I was like, okay, like, what does this lady want from me? Like, she's gonna scam me. And she said, whenever works best for you, just give me a call. If I could talk with a parent, that would be crazy. No, she didn't say that. She was like, if I could talk to a parent, that'd be good. And I was like, okay. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my mom's time. I'm not going to give her any information. So I called her on star 67 so that she couldn't save my number, because I really thought it was a scam. And I call her, and she's talking to me, and she's like, hey, this is, so basically I'm calling you to let you know that there's a show, there's an opportunity for you to come out to LA. And we're really interested in you. I think you're gonna do really well. We saw one of your music videos online, and we thought that you'd be really cool. This is a show by ABC. They're like calling it like Making the Band, or they're gonna be calling it Building a Boy Band or Building a Band or something like that. And so I was like, okay, like, sounds like cool. And then she was like, yeah, I mean, I know that nobody, I know I call some kids and like, well, I don't really want to be in a group, but honestly, I think that it'd be cool, like, you being a rapper, it'd be a cool, like, new thing to add to it. So I was like, yeah, sure, like, whatever. Like, it sounds like maybe, cool. And then I was like, yeah, so like really, I don't know if I would fit in the show. So like, I'm a rapper. How would that work? She's like, well, you can always, do you know how to sing? I was like, I know sort of how to sing, but not really. And she was like, okay, well, let me talk to your mom, and we'll set up a Skype audition, and we'll just see if they like you. So I was like, okay, fine, bet. And me and my mom set up the Skype audition. We talked to her, and then I talked to my mom, and I was like, and she was like, my mom was like, this could be something, or it could not. It could be nothing. We could just keep going on with our lives. And I was like, telling my sister about it. I said, oh, I forgot to mention that Pam told me, she was like, yeah, there's this, the grand prize is like, you get a deal with Hollywood Records, and we fly the top 50 out to LA to audition for the actual show. And the original idea was that top 36 would make the show, but they cut that down to top 30. So I get there, I get home, and I'm talking to my mom, my sister, and she's like freaking out. She's like, this could be huge. And my mom was like, yeah, I mean, I'll talk to her. And she was on the phone. She was like, yeah, he plays the violin. And she was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. A violin, like a rapper violinist, that's like unheard of. And she was saying, like, what other instruments do you play? And I was like, piano, I produce, I rap, I sing a little bit. And she's like, okay, so you're going to talk with Susan and answer some questions. Susan was the lady who was on the Skype call. So I get on the Skype call, and she's like, I do a little, I talk, I answer some questions or whatever, and she's like, okay, well, can you show me your voice, your vocals? And I was like, ooh, okay. So I sung a little bit, and it was not good. It was probably one of the worst things I've ever done. It was so bad. Actually, thinking about it, it was pretty terrible. And I was like, wow, that was bad. And then she was like, well, can you like rap or something? I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna freestyle. And what she did, I was like, can you just give me a word? And I forgot what the word she said, but she gave me a word, and I just went off that word. I did like maybe I think I did like 16 bars off of that word. And she was like, wow, like she was like super impressed. And I was like, I felt good about it. I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, well, we'll let you know if you have a spot in the show, and hopefully we'll get back to you soon. And I was like, all right, cool. So I waited like 2 or 3 days, and there's no response. One of my friends, actually, Malcolm, got a call back, and they said that he made it to the top 50. So I was like, oh man, if they called him back already, then they're probably not gonna call me back. So I was like, okay, it's whatever. So sure enough, a couple nights before, they were like I talked to my mom, and I was like, Mom, like I really think that I got it. Like I really think that they should give me a chance. And then she was like, listen, you gotta understand, like these things are impossible to get into. You can't like have that expectation of yourself. Like it's just not something that's realistic. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I guess, but like I know my worth, like as a rapper. Like if they're asking for other rappers, if they want something different, I think I'm like pretty good. I'm good enough to like be put in that category. And sure enough, I wake up one morning and my mom walks in, and she's like, hey, they called. We're flying out to LA April 13th. And I was like, oh man. I was freaking out. And I remember getting on the plane. We went out to get new clothes and stuff for the auditions. And I was so nervous. I remember getting there, and I see like all these kids who look just like me, who dress the same, who like have like the hair up and stuff. And I remember one of the people I was really intimidated by was I saw Jay Hype, right? I saw Jay, and I was like, yo, this dude's like super attractive. He's tall. He's like Jay was like kind of like looking around, like he was super intimidating. Like when I first met him, I was like, yo, what's up, dude? He's like, what's up? What's up? I was like, what's your name? I was like, my name's Michael. Nice to meet you. He's like, it's Jay Hype. I'm like, yo, you a singer? He's like, no, I'm a beatboxer. I'm like, oh, okay. And so that was like the only conversation we had. And I was like, oh, that guy's a douche. And then later, when it came to audition time, like I had talked to some of the other guys. Actually, one of the first guy I ever met from boy band was Noah Mack. And if you guys know who Noah Mack is, he's a contestant on The Voice right now, and he made it to, I think he made it to the top 4. So he's been killing it on The Voice. Shout out to him. He was one of the first people I met. We hung out like a lot. I got to the airport and it was Noah Mack and Dylan Ray. So I met those two. I got to the hotel and I met Dorian. And later that day I met like Brady, and one of the other guys was Trinidad Cardona. You guys may know his song Jennifer. And yeah, he's dope. So we met him. He was cool. And then I met all the other guys, of course. Gavin Becker was also one of the first people. Brady, Sergio, Mikey. And it came to audition time, and I auditioned like solo, and I was like, he didn't make it. No, here's the thing with Noah. Noah chose to not do it. I think Noah would have gone really far in boy band, but the problem was he didn't want to do it. He was like, I'm not like I wouldn't be in a band. Like, I want to be my own solo artist. So, I mean, it worked for him. And he was kind of like, yeah, so he just said, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, another opportunity will come. And it did for him. So, shout out to that dude. Super dope. And what else happened? Oh, yeah, audition time. So, I did my audition for the judges, and they were like, not the judges, the producers. So I was in a room with like 17 producers on ABC, and it was super weird. Like I walked in and I was like, hi, I'm Michael Conor, and I'm a rapper from Cleveland, Ohio. And they were like, okay. And so I auditioned. They told me to choose a song, right? They told me to choose a song, and I was like, but I'm a rapper, like I write my own stuff. And then they were like, just choose a song. And I was like, okay, whatever. I chose Can't Hold Us by Macklemore because of the looking for a better way to get up out of bed, like that part. Because I knew that would like catch their attention, like just being able to like rap fast and stuff. So I did that. My voice is so dry from talking. And I did that, and they were like, okay. So they say, let me hear you sing. And I was like, okay. I sung a little bit. It wasn't very good. And then he's like, give me some of your, like, do you have anything written? Do you have any raps? And I was like, yeah. So I rapped the second verse from a song of mine called Shine. And Adam Blackstone was like, and Tim Davis were like, you're definitely the best rapper we've seen here. We think you have a lot of potential. And I was like, okay. I left the room. I felt pretty good. And then I get called back. And they're like, hey, we feel like we need to see a little more of you. We want to get you together with this dude Jay Hype. And keep in mind, I was like kind of standoffish towards Jay. I was like, yo, this dude doesn't like me. He's like he's like off in his own world. He's like, and I was like, okay. So they contact him and we meet up in the lobby, and he's like, so what do you think we should do? I was like, well, maybe you start give me a beat, and I'll just try to see if we can make something up. And he was like, okay. So he started spinning. He's like, I was like, okay. So then I just started rapping, and we were in the lobby, And I was rapping for like 15 minutes, and all the kids who were also auditioning like were around me, and they were throwing me words and stuff. And it was crazy, and we looked at each other, we were like, yeah, let's do that. And so, like, after we were, like, going for a while, we had this chemistry, right? And we were like, okay, yeah, we got this. And then we walk in the room, and Jay's like, he's like, yo, I'm Jay Hype, I'm 14. And I looked at him, I was like, what? I was like, there's no way this dude, he's 6'2", he's 14 years old. I'm like, heck no. I'm like, heck no, he's not 14. But regardless, he like gave me a look, and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, bro, we got this. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, for sure. And I was like, here's the deal, guys. We don't really have anything prepared for you, so this is what we're gonna do. We're in the audition room, and the producers were like, they're like, okay, so what are you gonna do for us? I'm like, so he's going to give me a beat, and you guys are going to throw me words. So if you guys throw me a word right now, I'm just going to rap off of it. So they threw me a word, and I started going more. I just kept rapping. I rapped for 15 minutes straight off of words. And after I was done, I just kept going, and we were just feeding off of each other's energy. Like, we were going ham. And at the end, we stopped, we finished, and the whole room just stands up in applause. And I was like, oof. That was like the craziest feeling. We played it cool, and we walked out of the room, and we were like freaking out. We were like, dude, you know what we just did, bro? You know what we just did? Dude, we just got ABC execs to stand up. We just got a standing ovation. Like, we're on the show. For sure, there's no way. And so we did, yeah, like we were freaking out, man. And like we were on like a high that whole day. Like, we knew, like, people were like, oh, how'd your audition go? And we're like, I mean, me and Jay, we got a standing ovation, like, you know, but no big deal or anything. They're like, dude. And like, it was just so cool. It was the coolest feeling ever. And I remember before we left back home from the top